what would you say was your rock bottom?
My wife coming to see me. The last visit I actually got in jail, and my son sitting in front of me and he was crying, and he was telling me, "Daddy, you missed my first day of school," and that was kindergarten, and that destroyed me. And my wife saying, "You're not gonna hurt my kids like this no more," and me finally, she used to tell me that before, but this time I really understood it. I felt the pain because I was looking at my son in the eye, and he was crying. He was like, "Daddy, you missed my first day of school."
Wow.
You know, and that killed me, man.
Those memories stick with us, huh?
Oh yeah, bro. I still, to this day, I remember that.
Yeah.
You know, to this day, there's times I look at my son and I just remember that, like, he saved me.
Yeah.
He saved me by the grace of God. Like, he saved me.
Hey, what's going on? Using my story once again. It's me, Samuel. We're super excited, and we're glad you guys have joined us again for another great podcast. I got one of my buddies that I've known for a good amount of years, and we've been through a lot of things together, working in treatment and, just our own personal lives. So go ahead and take a moment, introduce yourself, brother.
My name is Jesse. I grew up in Orange County. I have a beautiful wife, and I have 3 beautiful kids.
Let's go, Jesse. So, as you know, Jesse, using my story, we talk about our struggles. It's all in the title. We're using our own story. We give people hope, try to speak into people's lives, let them understand and know that they're not the only ones that are struggling with substance abuse and mental health.
Sure.
So let's just jump into your story a little bit. I know your story of addiction, the mental health. Let's just jump into that a little bit. So let's talk about your struggles, brother.
I guess my addiction started when I was about 17, 18. Was kind of going through a lot with the mother of my first child, and my mother, and a lot of what was going on in my life at the time. So I jumped right into meth at 18. I didn't get to start like really having to hustle for it or do anything for like a struggle until I was like 19, 20. And it just kicked off from there, like where I was selling drugs, doing just bad things to get drugs, like robbing, drug connects, all that stuff, hanging out with my gang, and doing what we do. So the addiction got bad because, I always say this, it's so hard to be a gang member. It's so hard to be a gang member and be sober.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to do things you do as a gang member and be sober. So I was broken. I was broken from my mom being an addict. I was broken from so many things, like I said, my first baby's mom took my oldest child. I was just broken,
So you were talking about 18, right, when you started?
18 to 20, yeah.
So, and then you touched a little bit on your mom and the struggle that was within itself. So let's pause on going further into your story and let's talk about your childhood, because as we know, working in treatment, your childhood, right, is where a lot of things start for people that, subjectively we look at like, oh, I had a good childhood. Or, we really don't deal with the things because that was the effect that pushed us and motivated us to jump into addiction and not address mental health and just jump into that. So let's talk about your childhood a little bit, bro.
Yeah, I mean, from when I was born till I was about 8 years old, I was kind of passed around from house to house. My mom was in her addiction. I was, living with my grandma, aunts, cousins, whoever, and I was kind of just passed around wherever I could stay. And then my mom, she got sober. She met a guy who is my father, He signed me up for Little League. He did all that stuff. Like, he put me in baseball. He put me in basketball. And I played sports until I was like 15 years old.
Okay.
And while I was in high school, like, once I couldn't make grades for sports, that's when the game banging started. Like, that's when I started acting up. That's when I started, smoking weed and drinking and partying and not coming home, sneaking out, getting expelled from school, doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, but my childhood overall was good, from the ages 8 to like 18.
Yeah.
You know?
So like being moved from one house to another, one family member to another, there's no stability. There's no security.
No.
There's no peace of mind.
No.
There's no sense of belonging. There's no roots.
Nope.
Right? So that's hard, man. You know, because I can't relate to that, but I can only imagine, because it's like you have to think about like the mindset that you had as a little kid. Like, man, who wants me, dude? Like, why am I moving again? Like, I gotta go to another school. I gotta go do this. I gotta make new friends. Like, what's up with that?
It's weird because when I was growing up, I thought that was normal. Like, I thought it was normal for me to go from house to house. I thought it was normal that I didn't have my own bed.
Yeah.
I thought it was normal that I didn't have my own room. I thought it was normal that, you know, I'd visit my mom in jail. I thought it was normal that, you know, I would get like aunts and, you know, my grandma fighting over me. I thought it was normal that my grandma would get drunk and be so drunk she couldn't take care of me. She would send me to my aunts. Like all the violence that I would see between like women, like my aunt, you know, my grandma, my Nina, my godmother, you know, fighting over me, you know, like, you know, because one wasn't taking care of me, you know, so it would be like, you know, oh, you're not taking care of him right. He's going to this house. You're not taking care of him. He's going to this house. The only stability I had growing up was my aunt Angela. Like, she was always there for me. You know, she was always there. She's still there for me to this day. Like,
that's awesome.
The only stability I had was her, you know, growing up. And then, you know, when my mom met my dad, it was like, okay, I got a mom and dad now. You know, and it's like I called him dad after like 3 months is because I wanted a dad, you know? And, you know, but it was like having to move into that structure. You know, we went from living in Santa Ana, which is like ghetto, and my dad moved us to Dana Point.
Oh, shoot.
So it was a big culture shock.
You
know, like, and it was like, but I had my own room. I lived in a nice house, you know? I never had to take the bus anymore, you know? Like, it was different, you know?
Culture shock.
Yeah, big culture shock. You know?
So we covered 0 to 8, the bouncing around, insecurities, instability, no roots. And then after, from 8 to 15, you had this man in your life that took on the role of a dad. Showed you what a father and son relationship would look like.
Absolutely.
Right? Healthy relationship.
Yes.
And then 15, what changed?
Oh, I stopped playing sports.
So then you dropped out of sports because you weren't keeping your grades. You weren't keeping your grades because you were ditching. What were you doing, running amok?
Yeah, I was going to school, but I wasn't in class. So I was in like I had like 6 periods of gym, you know, or I was selling drugs, you know, on campus. You know, I was doing all kinds of stuff, bro. I was, you know, showing up in the morning, then leaving. I just wasn't in class.
Which. Man, we could dive into that. That's its own subject, right? So we could look at not the fact of drug dealing, but the effect of it. So like 0 to 8. So from 0 to 8, you were being bounced around and having all this transition in your life. And then 8 to 15, you had the stability. So it kind of counteracts, right? It's just like you didn't know how to deal with that. So you still, from 0 to 8, that was implanted in you. Violence. Drug use, alcohol use, all this. And even though your mom got married and had this good guy, you still didn't know how to accept that because your roots and your foundation was already built. That's wild, bro.
But it's weird because growing up, after my mom met my dad and we got into the place, like, it wasn't something like I said, poor me, you know, like, my mom, you weren't there until I was 8 years old, Mom. I didn't do none of that. It didn't bother me. It was just like, whatever. Okay, now I got a home. I wasn't, you know, there would be times where I'm like, okay, this is going to end soon. Everything in my life did. You know? You got to understand, at 8 years old, when my mom moved, when we lived with my dad, my grandma died. And she died of alcoholism. And she was my mom for those years, you know? And she died. So she left me. And it was like, she left me, she died. And then now I have my mom. So without my grandma, I was like, okay, my mom's all I got. My dad's all I got. So I hope this goes well. You know? See, but I saw the violence, you know, and the drug usage, like, when I was younger, but I never, like, threw it in my mom's face, you know?
But that's what I'm saying, is having that mindset of, I hope this works out. because you never had that, right?
Yeah.
So even as you got older, there was still that shaky ground.
Yeah.
Like, I just hope this works. Like, I just hope that this is going to be all right. So then 18, you start using meth. 19, now you're struggling. You're full on addicted. So let's jump on from 19.
19 on. So from 19 is when I found out my mom and dad had got a divorce. At the same time, my first baby's mom had left me and took my daughter with her.
Okay.
So it all happened within a 1 month period. So I had nowhere to go. I lived with the aunt at first, but she kicked me out. So my only option was to go with my mom in hotels, and that's when I found out my mom was prostituting. You know? And that's when all the memories of me growing up,
the trauma,
came back. All the memories of, oh yeah, my mom was a drug addict. So then I started using full force just to get rid of those thoughts, and watching my mom, like, I would watch my mom do things like jump in a car in front of me. So, you know, and growing up, I'm okay, that's who that guy was. And that all hitting me on top of losing my daughter. It was just too much for me, bro.
Yeah, overwhelming.
It was like I lost everything. Not only did I lose everything came to light, you know, about my mother. So I was out in the hotels with her, and that's when, like, I told myself, like, okay, I'm probably going to get life, or I'm going to get killed out here. So whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
You're just in it to win it because you have no point.
You know, getting shot at, not running.
Yeah.
Always having a gun on me, all that stuff. Like, I didn't care.
Yeah.
So I caught my first case with a gun.
Okay.
What I was gonna, and you know, I'm a firm believer in God now. You know, like I love God. You know, like He's my dad. You know, but at that age, at 19, I got caught with a gun that I was on my way to go do something to somebody, and it wasn't like, oh, you know, it's part of the game. It was, I'm gonna go do something. I don't care if it's day or night.
Yeah.
Or who's around. I'm gonna do it today.
Yeah.
And I got caught with the gun.
Wow.
And I went to jail. I went to jail for the first time. And then, you know, from there on, you know, my addiction was, you know, I'd get out of jail, stay out for 3 weeks, go back in.
Yeah.
You know, for different reasons, hanging out with the homies or drug use, you know, using drugs. And that was my life for, like, I would say, until I was 27.
So you were doing county and state.
Oh yeah.
You were just hitting the system.
I was just in the system.
You were just on the revolving door.
Yeah, I was in reporting. I never even met my probation officer until I got on parole, you know? So I went from getting out of the county the first time, being on probation, never met her, going on the run, and I would just keep going to jail until I caught a state a term. And then I actually caught 4 terms in my life. So, you know, and being in prison, for me, that was cool with me because I had somewhere to go.
You know, it's weird that you say that because I said that before too. Like in my story, I kind of, like, when I first hit the yard, I was like, I made it. Like, that was my mindset. Like, oh, I made it. It's like, bro, how twisted do you have to be to think like, oh man, I made it. Gun towers, oh, this is it right here. I'm a big dog.
That's how it was. Well, for me, I remember my first time when I went to Folsom. And Folsom was in that movie American Me. And then, you know, in Folsom, when you get to Folsom, you get to what's called CTQ, where it's called Fish Row, where you're waiting to get housed. And I was in those cells that, I don't know if you know that part where Edward James Olmos is in the hole with the holes in the door.
Oh, yeah.
I was in that cell. So I'm like, oh man, I'm here. I showed up. I made it.
You're like, pass me a book.
Yeah. Pass the wire.
Pass me a book.
Pass the wire. You know, but I felt like I made it, bro. And to be honest with you, until I met my wife now, like, I was comfortable in prison, bro. Like, I was good. Like, had everything I needed. And then, you know, but what happened was after that prison term, like in Folsom, I remember I met my wife and we had my son. And then I got out, she got pregnant, went to jail, went to, I think it was Chino that time, got out, was out for 30 days, got her pregnant again, But I missed my son being born.
Yeah.
And then I missed my daughter being born.
Mhm.
And to me, that was normal.
Yeah.
It was normal for me. It was normal that wasn't there. And, my wife's like, wait a minute, I got 2 babies and I'm by myself, bro. Like, I need help.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like, well, I'm in prison, it's whatever. I didn't know what it was, bro. But when I got out this last time I got out, which I've been out of prison, this month will be 14 years.
Let's go, Papa.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I got out that prison term is because the reason why I stopped doing that stuff was because my wife said, I'm done. Like, you're not going to see your kids.
Yeah.
So it went to a place where, like, damn, I'm not going to see all 3 of my kids.
Yeah.
I got to stop.
Yeah. So let's backtrack a little bit. Because we went on a really good story.
Yeah, we went all around,
yeah. So 18, 19, meth. Did you go to anything else, or was meth just your strict DOC?
I did heroin when I was 23.
Okay.
I did heroin for the first time when I was 23. Then the meth stopped. The meth stopped because heroin was way better for me.
Yeah.
I did heroin because I was doing meth, with I was using a needle. And I was like, I was on a good one. Like, I was doing dumb things in broad daylight. And, a family member said, bro, you need to calm the hell down. You're doing too much. You're going to get life. And I'm like, I don't care, all that stuff. And I did heroin with them for the first time. And it was a wrap,
So when you started doing heroin, how long were you addicted to heroin?
Until I was 27.
So 27. In that time frame, did you ever overdose at all?
No. When I was doing heroin, there was no fentanyl.
Yeah.
So
freaking epidemic fentanyl, bro.
Here's the thing, man. Like, heroin, I was addicted to heroin, but I was never out of prison long enough to where, like, I lost my veins or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was never out of prison, long enough to where, I don't know. It's just weird, bro, because I was, there was one time I was out for a long time and I got really bad.
Yeah.
I got down to like 140.
Wow.
And I'm at 250 right now. For me, it was like, it was mirrored. That was the only time I went to jail when I was sick, sick off the heroin.
Yeah.
But I never OD'd. But I'll tell you one thing, today, I won't get near that stuff, bro, because the fentanyl scares the crap out of me.
Oh, yeah. That's Russian roulette every day.
Yeah, dude, it scares the living daylights out of me, bro.
So, in your addiction and dealing with going in and out of the system, what would you say was your rock bottom?
My wife coming to see me. The last visit, I actually got in jail, and my son sitting in front of me and he was crying, and he was telling me, Daddy, you missed my first day of school. And that was kindergarten, and that destroyed me. And my wife saying, you're not going to hurt my kids like this no more. And me finally, she used to tell me that before, but this time I really understood it. I felt the pain because I was looking at my son in the eye, and he was crying. He was like, Daddy, you missed my first day of school.
Wow.
And that killed me, man.
Those memories stuck with us, huh?
Oh, yeah, bro. I still, to this day, I remember that.
Yeah.
To this day, there's times I look at my son and I just remember that, like, he saved me.
Yeah.
He saved me by the grace of God. Like, he saved me.
So, how much sober time do you have now?
Oh, I've been clean 14 years.
Dang.
Off drugs, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, I've been clean 14 years.
I've been a constant father figure, husband, provider.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm there every day.
Yeah. I've been a coach.
Let's go.
In basketball. I've been a coach in baseball. I've been a Girl Scout dad. I've sold cookies.
You been a den mom?
I wasn't with my wife more, but like I sold cookies.
Let's go.
I sold cookies.
Did you sell cookies, or like you're gonna buy cookies right now?
You can get these cookies. I had those order forms. But I coached my son in basketball. I've been present. I've been there. I've got my relationship back with my oldest daughter.
Good.
I've been a father to her. She texts me and she calls me. She lives in Vegas now. My son, he went through his issues, but I was able to be a father and go to, he went to juvenile hall. He got shot last year. and I was able to be a father to him, man. Because when he went to juvenile hall, I got to go to court. I got to be there and show him I was there. I got to visit him on my own.
Yeah.
Even like if his mom couldn't make it, I was there on my own visiting my son.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would do that, And then when he got shot, I stayed overnight in the hospital with my son. And that was the scariest thing. He's clean now.
Good.
He's clean now. And I helped him go to treatment. And he got clean.
Yeah.
And now he lives on his own with his best friend. And it's like, bro, like, I'm old. I got 2 kids out of the house. I got my youngest daughter, and I'm blessed with my youngest daughter because she's just a perfect little angel.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude.
You ain't got to say that because we're on the podcast and she's
No, she is, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. There's times I'm like, dude.
I say that, bro, because, my story, Jay. Like, I got remarried and I have 5 beautiful kids. And I'm like, man, these 2 teenagers we got, like, their issues are minimum. It's like, man, this is going to be a cakewalk, but shout out to their mom. And it's just, it's a blessing to be a part of our kids' lives. There's a difference between a dad and a father. Right, but to sit there and to be there and present in your child's life and understand and be able to have an open line of communication, which brings me to my next question. How open and honest are you with your kids?
I'm very open with my 2 oldest. My son knows my story. He knows the most.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, she's never really asked me, so I haven't told her, but she has an idea. But my son, I had to be real open and honest because of his troubles.
Yeah.
And it's hard, like, to think about this, but when he was in treatment and he was in therapy and he was getting sober, he remembered that I wasn't there from 0 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me. He said, "Hey, Dad," like, he called me from treatment. And he was like, "Dad, I just want you to know I forgive you." And I'm like, "Okay, what'd I do?" And he was like, "I never told you this, but I remember you not being there."
Wow.
And I remember you, like, having to see you in jail and stuff like that. And that was like,
shot to the gut.
Yeah, bro. But at the same time, I was glad he got that off his chest.
Yeah. Beneficial.
Because I didn't get that off my chest until I was like 38.
Yeah, he's not
until I went to church, bro. Like, I didn't get that off my chest with my mom.
Yeah.
And he got it off his chest. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, you know everything about my life, son. So let's move forward because I'm your dad and I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
You saved my life. And he was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something I've said, and I'll say it again. When we have our own struggles, right? We're human, whether it's addiction, mental health. But when it comes to our kids, if we don't give them the benefit of the knowledge that we have,
yeah,
we're doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
And it's true, bro, because it's like one of those things to where if we don't prepare our kids for when we're not here, then honestly we failed as a parent.
Yeah.
Right? That's the reality.
Yeah.
Because if our kids aren't ready for us to not be here, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right? So it was a really good conversation with you, man.
Yeah.
Me and you have some good conversations, bro.
We always do, bro. We always do.
So what we're going to do right now is we give our guests an opportunity to look into the camera, give somebody some hope, some faith, some encouragement. Speak from the heart, bro. No time limit. Just have at it, Jay.
Okay. Man, I don't care where you've been. I don't care what you've done in your life. I don't care what has gone on where you feel like you can't get sober or you can't get off those drugs or off the alcohol. It's possible, man. Like, you can come from the gutter. Like, I always told people I came from the gutter. Like, I came from nothing and I had something and I lost it and then I got it back, but you can do it no matter what it is. How you do it, my suggestion is you do it through AA, NA, or you go to church. I've done NA, and now I go to church. And one thing, it's all revolves around God. So for me, what changed my life was knowing that God loves me, and no matter what I've done, He's forgiven me. But the 12 steps also saved my life too, just getting all that stuff off my chest that I felt like made me a victim. You don't have to be a victim no more. You can succeed in life. my life is awesome today. I got a great wife. I got a house. I got my children. I got a car. I got everything I could possibly want. And life is just good because I worked. I took it one day at a time. You can't change everything in one day. You can't gain that trust back in one day. You got to realize it's going to take months, even years, to get trust back from anybody. You just got to want it and not give up on yourself.
Fire. So, once again, using my story, we appreciate you guys taking the time to come out and check out the podcast. If you guys need help, there's links and numbers in the bio. Feel free to reach out. We have a full team that's committed to answering you guys' questions. If you guys want to see subject matter, a special guest, or whatever it may be, make sure you guys hit us in the DMs. So once again, my name is Samuel for using my story, and we'll check you guys out next time.